Hello, everybody, and welcome here to the Wine with Jimmy channel. Thank you so much for clicking by. And we are looking at my subscription service here, and I'm going to give you some wonderful wine recommends here for food and wine pairings as well, with full professional tasting notes. If you do have a comment or question about the video, or perhaps about the subscription service, please do get in touch by commenting on the video below. Make sure you click like and subscribe. Okay, so this series is where I'm looking at my top drops from Total Wine and More, which is a multiple liquor store chain across the United States of America, operating in roughly about 30 states with something like 280 stores. So these wines are fairly accessible across the United States. And I will give you information about each of the wines. So the grape variety, grape growing, winemaking, also a very important food and wine pairing match with that specific wine. I'll give you some information about where the wine is from and also then the professional tasting sheet. So if you are studying for exams, you'll find these very useful, or you are just looking to enrich your life and pick better wine, enjoying better wine and food, this will be for you. The first wine I'm looking at is, I think, one of the best Sauvignon Blancs in the world currently. It's a very lovely wine, very affordable as well, because very top-end Sauvignon Blanc can often push sort of 50 to $100 a bottle. And this is the Greywacke Wild Sauvignon. You'll see a picture of it on the left-hand side, coming in at Total Wine at $31.99. Of course, you may be able to get that cheaper depending on how much you are purchasing. So this is from New Zealand, this is from Marlborough, and the 2023 100% Sauvignon Blanc, as you can see just there, and it's from various sites around the southern valleys and the central Wairau Plains near Woodbourne. I'll show you a map very shortly on that. This wine has gone through a light press, a cold settle, and then racked immediately for its fermentation into French oak barriques, which has somewhere around 10% new. It will go through a long and gentle fermentation with its natural yeast, hence why this is called Wild Sauvignon. Then it will have some lees stirring during that time. And then it's finally put into steel for 6 months with some more lees as well, but no stirring. So it sits on gross lees at that point. Though some of the barrels will also go through malolactic, so there's partial malo in this wine. Comes in at about 13.5% alcohol, quite high acid, TA of 6.2 grams per litre, and quite a strong potential of hydrogen, pH there at 3.2. So it's obviously going to be a fresh wine when you've got high levels of acidity there with quite strong acidity. So the pH, if it's a lower number, you're going to get quite a lot of strength behind the acidity. And typically around 3.1, 3.2, that is the case. If you would like to find the food and wine pairing that I've put this with, in the bottom right-hand corner, you can scan the QR code. This will take you to a recipe to produce a really lovely ceviche. And ceviches are delicious. They are fish, typically, that is served in things like the acids of lemon and lime. And then there's lots of herbs in there as well, typically things like mint or cilantro. And that will often give it that kind of herbal note. That's what I love in this. In fact, the intense sort of saltiness of that dish will help curb the acidity of this wine. But then also there's a pairing where you've got the herbaceous notes of this wine working with that part of the ceviche as well. So it's quite a lovely pairing to go for. As I mentioned, just a bit of background about where this wine is from in the world. Maybe you are going to take this wine to a dinner party or you're with friends and you'd like to give just a little bit of background behind it. That's why I include this slide. Now, generally, the grapevines in Marlborough in New Zealand, which is this northern tip of the South Island, it's number 8 on the map to the left-hand side. This area is fairly dry because of the protection of the mountain ranges, like the Richmond Mountain Range. So you have to get a good protection, good dryness in this area. And most of the grapes, you'll see here, I've blown up here on the right-hand side, the areas of production. So you basically have 3 zones. You have the Wairo Valley, which is the largest area. And that Wairo Valley is the really sort of the most northerly point of Marlborough. It goes along the Wairo River to the mouth of Cloudy Bay at the eastern end that you see on your map there, close to where the key is for your map. Now, the Wairo is the main area. Then you have the southern valleys, which is in blue there on your map. This is the collective name for a number of north to south running valleys located in the south of the main plain of Wairo. It's got lots of hills and in sort of distinctive mountain rifts coming through this area. Soils here are more clay-based than other parts of Marlborough, which are quite typically alluvial-based, and this helps retain water and has a cooling influence. This often slows ripening, and harvesting time can be up to 2 weeks later in the southern valleys in comparison to the Wairo. You often find the wines have a bit more body, and they have a little bit more roundness to them, sometimes a little sneakily high alcohol in comparison to Wairo Valley as well. Typically, the southern valleys is actually quite important for Pinot Noir, but you also will find Sauvignon Blanc there as well. So, fruit for this wine comes from both the Wairo Valley Plain, near Woodbourne, not far from Renwick, and then in the southern valleys here as well. So you've got a bit of a mixture in this style. Now, here is my professional tasting note on this. If you are just doing this for fun, you might find it interesting, but you might not necessarily want to pay too much attention. But if you are studying or you are looking to better your palate, then you might find all of this information on this slide quite useful. So you'll see here, I've got what is called the WSET Systematic Approach to Tasting card. And I'm highlighting the key parts to this as well. So if you have done this blind, you've tasted it previously, and you like to compare your notes, you may find this useful. So the appearance you'll see there is pale and lemon. Not much given away on the appearance, quite a youthful wine, very pronounced on the nose like a typical aromatic Sauvignon Blanc, and youthful development. It is useful because I do not find any tertiary developed characteristics. The aromas here, 5 marks if you are following the systematic approach here, 5 of any of those I've put on the right-hand side. I find this nice and floral. You've got honeysuckle, chamomile, elderflower, and kind of jasmine white blossom. You find apple and gooseberry, grapefruit, lemon, and lime. For me, this is more in the sort of lemon area. Melon, but I don't find any stone fruit or anything else tropical about it. Now, often on a Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough, you will find things like passion fruit, not on this style. I find a little bit of green, grass, mint. I find this hugely herbal. Mint, fennel, dill, star anise, all comes through. Lovely flint, salt, brine, wet stoniness to it as well. It's gone through some lees stirring, and I find a little bit of body here, bit of bread dough. And I do find something a little bit cedar and resinous in there. There's a little hint of oak that comes through. On the palate, dry, high in acidity, medium alcohol, medium minus and medium body. Now that's coming through with that texture, medium plus flavor intensity, and a long finish. I think this wine is outstanding, and I think it also has the ability to age. So Can Drink Now has the ability to age because it has some body to it. Acidity, and it also has that hint of